Well, good Sunday morning. I mentioned yesterday that I'd be bringing you a very special kind of video on Sunday morning, different than anything that I think I've ever done before. I'm going to be going line by line on an article that just came out in the Atlantic about Elon Musk. It's not a flattering article by any stretch of the imagination, except to the extent that, in a way, it's a backhanded compliment. But let's go ahead. We're going to take this thing apart line by line because I think it'll give you a lot of insight into number one, into how others might be thinking about Elon. That might give you some indication of why they're anxious or why they're angry or why they hate him or everything else. So I think it's always good to know what the other side is thinking. Or maybe you already feel the way that this article feels, and I'm going to try to I'm going to try to change your mind if this is how you feel. No, I'm not going to disagree with everything in the article because I'm not, a sycophant. I'm a fanboy, but I'm not a sycophant. There's a difference. I hope you realize that. Okay, we're going to take a look now. Let's start with the article. It's called "What Elon Musk Really Wants." Now, you start off with a headline like that, and it implies that you are wiser than God. I don't know what I really want. I doubt whether the author of this, Franklin Foer, Foer, I doubt if he knows what he really wants. But he's got the temerity to think that he knows what Elon Musk really wants. I think that's sad and ridiculous. But having said that, we all tend to think that we can read other people's minds and understand from their actions and from their words what they really want or what they're trying to accomplish, what their motives are. We would be commonly very, very wrong. It says the subheadline is the Tesla and 𝐿 have long dreamed of redesigning the world in his own extreme image. Trump may be his Trojan horse, it says. So again, I just have to start right in that first line. I don't think that Elon Musk has ever thought about redesigning the world in his own extreme image. I think that what Elon Musk has said is, I'd like to leave the planet a little better than I found it. You ever go to a mountain cabin, where you're renting somebody's mountain cabin and it's their home. They use it themselves and they don't really have time to go up between visitors and clean it. And you get up there and it's kind of a mess. Have you ever thought, you know what? I'm going to leave this place looking better than I found it. I think that's what Elon has in mind in terms of the world. He's also nervous and worried that we as the human population could destroy this world. And we've certainly, tried to. We've got these atomic weapons and other kinds of things. And then there's always the matter of how we might destroy it by engineering ourselves into destruction through AI or through humanoid robots, or potentially there's the way of illness because of the ways that we conduct ourselves, sexually transmitted diseases and whatnot that have and the gluttony that might cause a rat infestation. You know what I'm saying? So there's all these different ways that we might try to destroy ourselves. And Elon says, look, I got some brain power here, and I've got some time on my hands, and I've got some desire to do some big things. So I'd like to really, really get in there and help. Well, there's a whole bunch of people feel that way. Almost all the lawyers I went to law school felt that way. Almost all the politicians feel that way. Unfortunately, they often get distracted by money. And when they get distracted by money, then all of a sudden they start listening to a different God, and they don't necessarily apply themselves to the task, but rather they apply themselves to the business of making themselves more money. But Elon Musk, I think, is beyond all that. That's just my personal opinion. If you got 44 billion or 33 billion or whatever it is this week, if you got that kind of money, you don't really have to make more. And I think that's going to be an underlying error in this entire story. Is Elon Musk does not need the money. So right now it's a question of whether he can continue to get and hit and make the make the goals happen that he has set out to do. And new goals are coming along. As he goes along, any entrepreneur will tell you the bright shiny object is the thing that distracts you from continuing, to be very, very focused on what it is that you maybe should be spending most of your focus on. But you're not going to avoid that. That's part of the condition of being that entrepreneur. All right. The article says, in Elon Musk's vision of human history, Donald Trump is the singularity. I don't think he thinks that remotely. If Musk can propel Trump back to the White House, it will mark the moment that his own superintelligence merges with the most powerful apparatus on the planet, the American government, not to mention the business opportunity of the century. So I think that he does not think that way at all. I think that he thinks that there's a couple of things going on with regard to government. One of those is freedoms of the, what do you call it, the Bill of Rights. I think he believes that the Bill of Rights and the Constitution are important. He came to the country because of it. He believed that this is the land of opportunity, and he believes that the failure on the part of people on the left to care about freedom of speech, freedom of the right to bear arms, etc., the other things that are in the Bill of Rights, their disinterest in the Constitution, to the point of the Atlantic running an article recently that said maybe the Constitution needs to be rewritten, and their disinterest and their interest in regulating and thereby thwarting the economy, thwarting entrepreneurs like him. I think that's what he's mostly interested in. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, or if you really think for him, it's all about, wow, let me get together with Trump, and between us, we can like create the biggest business opportunity of the century. I just don't think it's even remotely on his mind. Many other titans of Silicon Valley, I don't think you can compare any other titan of Silicon Valley, have tethered themselves to Trump. Yeah, we just had a video earlier today with the guys from the yeah, okay, the All In podcast. Two of them are definitely tethered to Trump, and two of them are less tethered by a lot. But Musk is the one poised to live out the ultimate techno-authoritarian fantasy. So there's a bias here. I think there's a bias going on. Who said anything about authoritarian? It's the opposite of authoritarian. The whole goal of Elon Musk is the opposite of authoritarian. It is designed to provide humans with the greatest resources ever so they can do it for themselves, not have the government tell them how to do it. It's absolute opposite. With this influence, he stands to capture the state, not just to enrich himself. His entanglement with Trump will be an Ayn Rand novel sprung to life, because Trump has explicitly invited Musk into the governance to play the role of master engineer who redesigns the American state and therefore American life in his own image. Nothing to do with his image. His goal is constitutional government, democratic republic, Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, all the things that we were founded on. This is his goal, but his goal is also to keep civilization from imploding on itself, because that's what he spends all of his time thinking about. Musk's pursuit of this dream, he didn't even go back and probably even read the books about Elon Musk to find out what it was at the core of what propels him. Musk's pursuit of this dream clearly transcends billionaire hobbyism. Consider the personal attention and financial resources that he's pouring into the president's campaign. According to the New York Times, Musk has relocated to Pennsylvania to oversee Trump's ground game there. Fantastic. About time the conservatives pay attention to the ground game. And this is an evidence of how Elon Musk thinks. First principles. If you don't have the ground game, you can't win, or it's much harder. That is, he's running the infrastructure that will bring voters to the polls. In service of this cause, he's imported top talent from his companies, and he reportedly plans on spending $500 million on it. This doesn't begin to account for the value of Musk's celebrity shilling. His celebrity shilling, you could call it a lot of things. You could say for his, surrogacy as a speaker. Anyway, and the way he turned X into an informal organ of the campaign. Well, okay. He's got his own following, and he is able to go like any other human being and talk to their following. I don't know why that's different than anybody else on the platform. He just has a very, very big following, which he had. He was number 2 or number 3 before he owned it. So it's not like he gained this notoriety, he gained this massive following because he owns the platform. He was already there. Musk began as a Trump skeptic, a supporter of Ron DeSantis, in fact. Only gradually did he become an avowed, rhapsodic MAGA believer. That's true for me also. I have gone through every other one of the members, like everybody else that ran for the presidency under the Republican ticket. Every one of them, I have always said they would be better than Trump. I've come to the conclusion, as has Musk, but I came to the conclusion 4 years ago that Trump is an amazing president and absolutely deserves to be reelected. His attitude toward Trump seems to parallel his view on artificial intelligence. I don't even understand that. On the one hand, AI might culminate in the destruction of humanity. On the other hand, it's inevitable, and if harnessed by a brilliant engineer, it has glorious, maybe even salvific. I should have looked that up. Anybody know what salvific means? Like solving, like SALV, solving, like making things better, like, putting a salve on it. Anyway, I don't think that Elon Musk, in the remotest part of his brain, has thought in terms of Trump being something that could result in the destruction of humanity. I think he thinks that would be a less than 1% chance. So no, I think this is another just wrong line. What do you think? Let me know. Maybe I'll do a whole program on your responses. Musk's public affection for Trump begins almost certainly with his savvy understanding of economic interest, namely his own. Has anybody ever given any thought that Elon Musk cares about his own economic interests? He lives in a little tiny house. He's gotten rid of all of his properties. Yes, he's got a jet plane because that makes so much sense for what he's doing. But other than that, yeah, I don't think the money is not what he's after. I just don't think so. Like so many other billionaire exponents of libertarianism, he has turned the government into a spectacular profit center. His company, SpaceX, relies on contracts. It does not rely on government contracts. He says, the sentence is, relies on contracts with three-letter agencies in the Pentagon. It does not rely on those. In fact, I think he's going to say here in a minute that between the two companies, they've won $15 billion in federal contracts. Does he have any idea what a small pittance of the overall business that is? It's not even close. It's not even remotely close to being important. The big business, as Elon has always said, the big business is Starlink, and the government's got nothing to do with Starlink, except the Army wants to use it, of course. Tesla thrives on government tax credits for electric vehicles and subsidies for his network of charging stations. Absolutely the opposite. He said he doesn't think that the IRA was a good idea. He doesn't want it. He thinks it's helping the hybrids more than it's helping BEVs. I think that's part of the reason that Tesla had a bad year last year. And he's also absolutely not requiring it for the charging stations. In fact, if anything, the money that's coming in for the charging stations is going to other people that charge 3 times as much as Tesla does to build them. So this line happens to be the first time that it's an absolute lie. It's not even founded on facts. It's the opposite of truth. According to the Wall Street Journal, SpaceX is designing a slew of new products with national security customers in mind. Of course they are. And the national security establishment is hoping that he does them. Musk has only begun to tap the pecuniary potential of government, and Trump is the dream. He rewards loyalists, whether they are foreign leaders or that genuflect before him are supplicants who host events at his resorts. Where other presidents might be restrained by norms, Trump shrugs. During his first term, he discovered that his party was never going to punish him for his transgressions. His party, people are talking, some of the folks that would agree with this guy would say that it's no longer the Republican Party, it's the MAGA party. I don't agree with that, but a lot of people on the left think that's what's happening. In the evolving topography of Trump land, none of his supporters or cronies will have chits to compare with Musk's. If Trump wins, it is likely by a narrow margin that can be attributed to turnout. Musk can tout himself as the single variable of success, and let's hope that the Republican Party learns from it so that it can use it in future. It's not hard to imagine how the mogul will exploit. Is that how you say? No, you say mogul, right? You say mogul, I say mogul. I think it's mogul. It's not hard to imagine how the mogul will exploit this alliance. Trump has already announced that he would place himself in charge of a government efficiency commission. Now, what he said was, I think that I should do that, and you should hire me for that. Or in the Trumpian vernacular, Musk will be the secretary of cost cutting. SpaceX is the implied template. Musk will advocate for privatizing government, outsourcing the affairs of state to nimble entrepreneurs and adroit technologists. Actually, I've read everything I can. Let me know if you've seen anything that suggests that that's what Elon plans to do. I don't think he's given us a clue. The main thing he said is that they're going to cut. They're going to cut out entire cabinet positions. They're going to cut out the Department of Education. They're going to cut out all kinds of things that make no sense. And then they're going to modernize and make bring in a lot of efficiencies into the things that are being done. I think he probably will suggest privatizing at some points, but I think this is another lie. I don't think he can supply a single receipt to prove what he just said. Maybe let me know below. Maybe he said something like that. So when Trump brags that Musk will send a rocket to Mars during his administration, he's not imagining a reprise of the Apollo programs. He's envisioning cutting SpaceX, one of the largest checks the U.S. government has ever written. He's talking about making the richest man in the world even richer. And again, a complete lie. Elon has never I've never heard him one time, and maybe you have, let me know. Elon has never suggested for one moment that the U.S. government should give him a single check to get to Mars. It's all going to be created by SpaceX and by other companies, or by getting investors, by getting people to pay to go there. He's never, ever said that he was going to be looking for $1 from the U.S. government to get to Mars. Now, the U.S. government has come to him and said, hey, we're having trouble getting to the moon. We've spent billions and billions, I forget what the number is, $50 billion or something to get back to the moon. We haven't even shot off the first rocket yet. So yeah, maybe they should turn to Elon Musk now if that's their goal, is to get to the moon, and have Elon get them there faster and less expensively. But he has never asked for a dime to get to Mars. Of course, this could be bluster, but is entirely consistent with the rest of the rights program for Trump's second term, which involves dismantling the federal government, eliminating swaths of politically neutral civil service and entire cabinet departments and agencies. Well, I don't know about it being dismantling politically neutral civil servants. Yeah, okay, whatever you want to say. But yes, it does involve dismantling entire cabinet departments and agencies. I just said that. It's exactly the kind of sweeping change that suits Musk's grandiose sense of his own place in human history. Well, he does have I think he has a rightful, I don't think, has anybody ever said that he's not going to have a pretty substantial place in human history? This isn't a standard case of oligarchy. It is an hypothesis of the egoism and social Darwinism embedded in Silicon Valley's pursuit of monopoly, the sense that this concentration of power in the hands of geniuses is the most desirable social arrangement. As Peter Thiel once put it, competition is for losers. He also bluntly admitted, I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible. Wow. I'll bet you anything we could look that up and find out that's way out of context. On the second comment, I'm sure he said competition is for losers, because what do you want to do if you're doing well in business? You want to make sure that you create moats so that you have the fewest competitors possible. In this worldview, restraints on power are for losers too. That is absolutely not necessarily an outcome of even those two sentences. With his government contracts, whatever, and his insider influence, Musk will become further ensconced in the national security state. He already has a $1.8 billion classified contract, likely with the National Reconnaissance Office through a division of SpaceX called Starshield, supplying communications networks for the military. Yeah, I doubt if Elon sent one salesperson out to get that deal. I'll bet you any amount of money you want that the U.S. military came to him, because who else has anything like Starship? Who else has anything like the ability to put all those satellites up so cheaply? Oh my. At the moment when the government is confronting crucial decisions about the future of AI and the commercialization of space, his ideals will hold sway. What is his number one ideal? Let me know in the comments below. Do you know it? His number one ideal is we need to regulate AI so that we don't have a runaway problem. Spent $50 million of his own money to set up OpenAI in the beginning in order to accomplish that task. So he's not, again, yeah, I could be wrong. Elon could switch. 5 years from now, he's got it all. All these things are up and running. All these things are making billions of dollars. He's worth $1 trillion. And all of a sudden he turns into the flip side of who he has always been. And he says, okay, now I've got the power. I'm going to take over. At Tesla, Musk assigned himself the title of Techno King. This moniker, which sits on the line between jokiness and monomania captures the danger. Yes, of course. It sits on the line. Baloney. It's all about the joke. It's instead of CEO. Following the example set by Trump, he wouldn't need to divest himself from his businesses, not even his social media company. In an administration that brashly disrespects its critics, but an administration that brashly disrespects its critics. This is the current administration that tried to stop social media. Okay. He wouldn't need to fear congressional oversight. Oh, no, the Democratic congressman would never, ever come in and try to do anything to upset the apple cart for Musk or for Trump, and could brush aside any American who dares to question his role. How in the world does that even get implied? Of all the risks posed by a second Trump administration, this might be the most terrifying. Oh, I hope that was helpful. I hope that was useful. I hope that I wasn't too harsh. Oh, yeah, I hope I was too harsh. I hope I was harsh as I could be. That is I will say the guy has a pretty good turn of phrase. He used a word I didn't even know the meaning of, and that's not unusual. And it's pretty well written. He writes better than I do. But other than that, the bias, the unbelievable hubris that this article, the hubris alone, that's it. Leave it there. The pride, the hubris, crazy. All right. I'll see you later today with Monday morning, which happens on Sunday night. It's been great talking to you.